For being here, and also want to salute our good friends from WHNO Channel 20 here in New Orleans, Dean Powery, and a longtime friend from the New Orleans Quarterback Club, Ken Berthelot, who's in the audience today as well. Great to see you guys. Well, our final speaker today played for the New Orleans Saints from 1982 to 1989. Of course, he earned Pro Bowl honors in 1987 when the Saints posted their first ever winning season and playoff berth. Of course, he has served as an analyst for the Saints on television here locally, previously at WDSU, in the photography business, and also has been an actor and a singer, and ask him to do anything and he'll probably do that too. More than anything else, he's a real nice guy. And to share a little bit about the Saints and about their 40-20 win over Oakland last night with our quarterback club members, please give a warm welcome to Brad Edelman. Brad?
Thank you, Kenny. I'm going to see if I can raise this up a little bit so I don't have to stoop the entire time. Can I hold it? Well, I guess I can hold it. All right. How about that? Beautiful. Kenny's a man.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be with you all. It's a pleasure to see so many familiar faces. Honored to be with you and the gentleman that left today. Kenny, thank you as always for having me. I'm excited about this season this year. I watched that game yesterday, and I have to say with that, you know, we don't see too many of those games with those baseball fields anymore. But we used to eat a lot of dirt back in the day when we played on those baseball fields. So I feel for Tracy Porter, as many of you saw him slip on that pass coverage when he was beat for several yards. But it took me back a few years in the NFL history seeing that type of a game. Really important to me to see both of you guys here today. Don and Marie, always a pleasure to see you, but I'm glad to see you out. It does my heart good to see you being out and about. I am, like I say, excited about this season. I was last year and the year before, but I think, as many of you are in this room, we have a lot of great potential. This team on paper seems to me to be probably one of the strongest teams we've ever had, with a mix of experience and youth and some really strong young players that come in through the draft. I think we've really upgraded our team. Now, the only thing that I hearken to from years past is a team that I played on at the University of Missouri in 1982. 78 through 82. Boy, tell getting old. And we had a ton of talent. And I will tell you, it's hard enough to coach a team that is not full of talent, but it can also be very difficult, in my experience, to coach a team that is packed with talent, because you've got a lot of guys that can play and need to play and need to be satisfied, and you need to find a way to make it work throughout the season with this massive talent that you have. Now, I will tell you that I've been impressed over the last 3 years with Sean Payton and the administration of the Saints, and certainly their scouts, for bringing in the kind of players that are not selfish and that are team players. And I will suspect that we have the same type of guys in here again this year. But it is not an easy task to take the amount of talent that we have and put it to its best use and win football games consistently. So I'm interested to see what happens. I think our offense can be a juggernaut. I think we all agree with that. We're stacked at wide receiver. We've got backs that give us some depth in case we have injuries. We've got a tight end in Jimmy Graham, who I think is, you saw him used widely last night. I think he'll be a big asset to Drew Brees. We've got two fullbacks now that Sean Payton is very pleased with, and he said he may keep two fullbacks on the team because he likes these guys so much. Special teams, we'll see, yet to be proven. We need to find a breakout return guy. And our offensive line was the thing that concerned me the most going into this season. I saw us lose Goodwin early in the season, or late in the preseason. Late in the preseason, early in the training camp series. That's always difficult. Your center is the guy who makes all the calls on that offensive line. He's the captain of that line. He's got to communicate when you get up to that ball to the guys on the right, to the guys on the left, and they have to have faith in him to make the right calls, and he has to be quick to do it. So he has a big task ahead of him. The good thing is, he's a 14-year veteran. He's been around. They like his play. He's a guy that hustles through the end of the play. He's got experience and he's got leadership. That's a plus. It will take some time to gel the entire offensive line. The other question mark we have there, Carl Nix on the left side guard is a little beat up right now, but I believe he'll be back. The right tackle, Zach Street, is now our starter. Zach was the backup for both sides of tackle over the last couple of years. Now, Zach looks like he's played admirably in the first couple of games. My concern was if either Zach or Charles Brown couldn't step up in that position and that offensive line was still gelling, the last thing we need is to have a jailbreak somewhere on that offensive line and have Drew Brees taking hits early in the season. That was my big concern. From what I've seen so far, with 2 games left, or 1 game left in the preseason, 2 weeks basically to prepare, I think we'll be okay, but we will still need some time to gel on the offensive line. What concerns you the most? What, dare I say, defense? I think everybody, if anybody's dubious about anything at this moment, it's the defense, and again, because there are new faces, and even though I believe we're stacked at defensive back with some young, talented athletes, the defensive line is going to take time to gel. Cameron Jordan, Sean Rogers, these are some good young ball players. Sean Rogers has been around the league, and he's a big kid. He can stop up some holes in the middle. But it will take, I'm going to say it's going to take 2 to 3 to maybe 4 games in the early part of the season for this offense to really find itself and pull itself together. So I'm excited about the season. I'm a little dubious about the defense right now. I don't have any questions about the potential of this offensive scheme and the number of schemes we can throw at other teams and the amount of talent we have. But overall, I'm looking forward to it. If I had to give a game estimate, last year I called it 11-5, and I would say somewhere in that range again this year sounds good to me. 11-5, I would hope for even a little bit better, maybe 12-4. But you know, we're in a tough division. The NFC South now is probably one of the most difficult divisions in the league. Tampa Bay didn't look too good a couple weeks ago, but they've got a tough young club. They improved in the draft. Atlanta improved in the draft. I had a guy that I know makes wagers on the teams a couple weeks ago down the French Quarter walked by and said, Saints going to win every home game this year? And I'm pretty sure he put something on it. And I said, you know, I'll tell you what, as much as I'd love to tell you, I wouldn't bet the farm on that because we do play some tough opponents at home. How many people think we're going to beat the Packers the first game of the season? Okay, well, we have some dubious folks in the crowd there, and I think it's a strong question. Packers have a very good club. I think we have a chance still in the next 2 weeks to pull it together. You know, one thing I was pleased about, and I'm going to let you ask questions if you have any questions in just a moment. I was very pleased to see the team practicing out in California because as successful as they have been over the last several years, staying at home and having training camp in New Orleans, it makes a big difference. Having experienced it firsthand, both in Vero Beach early in my career, where it was very hot and humid, and in the northern part of the state in Shreveport, Ruston, and then in the most debilitating training camp I've ever experienced in Hammond, Louisiana, under my former coach Jim Mora, who admittedly these days was not prepared to coach under those conditions. We went into the season that year drained as a club. Our legs were tired, our spirits were tired. So I was glad to see them get a break and get out of some good weather, where as you've been hearing all week, they've been able to practice a little bit longer, their concentration can remain better, and I think it was a good thing for the club, especially playing out on the West Coast. Now, there may be some questions about the collective bargaining agreement. I know we're all ready for football. I'm glad we've had that behind us. I hope some strides were made. I know that for the veteran players like me, there has been a fund created with $620 million called a legacy fund that will be put in over the years. How it's going to be implemented and what benefit it will be to the older players, I'm not certain yet. That's yet to be seen, and I will have to put my faith in the NFL Players Association to do what's right by the older guys. And I hope as time goes by that they continue to help out the guys, not only for my sake, but the guys who played in my era and earlier, who one didn't make the money, but still do not have health care and deal with many, many conditions, which I am starting to deal with on a regular basis now at the age of 50. So, glad it's behind us. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer. Yes, sir. Any further word on Gary Hartley? Not as far as I know. Kenny, do you have any word? No. What was he? He was said to have tweaked the muscle in his kicking leg?
Hip.
In his hip. Okay. So, no, I don't know, and I can only hope for the best at this point. Yeah. Anybody else? All right, well, I wish you all an enjoyable season. I hope everybody is as happy as they want to be when this thing is all over. And thank you very much for having me. Always a pleasure to see you.
Thank you, Brad. Saints, of course, with their final preseason game on Thursday night against the Tennessee Titans in the Superdome at 7 p.m. We do want to let you know that we'll be meeting next Tuesday, as mentioned, not Labor Day, but next Tuesday, which will be here at noon. That's a week from tomorrow, so don't come Monday on Labor Day. Come on Tuesday, and we can tell you that we're going to have a special high school opportunity for you next week because the oldest rivalry in the state is going to be renewed in high school football a week from Friday, and that is Holy Cross and Jesuit. So next week we have a number of people from both schools that are going to be here, including both coaches, Larry Wilson of Holy Cross and Wade Kaiser of Jesuit, who will both be here to renew that great American rivalry series. We hope you'll be here too. Of course, we'll have speakers from LSU and Tulane. We expect Norman Hodgins to be here from LSU, Todd Graffinini from Tulane, and Torrance Small will be here to speak on the Saints next week. That's Tuesday next week rather than Monday. Yes, Stan? Don't forget to fill out your membership forms. Stan's holding up right now. Also, make sure you turn in your pickup contest forms before you depart so that you can be eligible to win. I want to thank Brad Edelman once again, Nelson Stewart, Newman for being here, along with Charlie Maglio and Bob Toledo. Of course, all videos at sportsnola.com, and you can read about all the guests that are forthcoming at sportsnola.com as well. With that, we want to thank you for being here. Drive safely. God bless you all.